Today is Friday the 13th. Ooh, scary kids, scary. So are you the type of person who is very superstitious? Ooh, or are you like me and pretty much do everything, full speed ahead and don't worry about old wives' tales about things? I don't know. I have no clue. But I do have a clue about something, and that is the Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. I am back once again. I am Jeff McAleer. I'm your host here at the Daily Dope, as well as the Grand Poobah of thegaminggang.com. So welcome aboard. It is Friday, the 13th of April. And as I mentioned, a lot of folks out there are kind of overreacting to, oh, it's a Friday the 13th. I have to be very honest. I don't recall ever having something bad happen to me on a Friday the 13th. Knock on wood. Fingers crossed. So, thanks for popping in again. And I've got a pretty big show ahead of us. I've got quite a bit of news, a little heavy on Kickstarter news today, which normally I shy away from having too many Kickstarters. But I will say, in my defense, I am extremely confident that the Kickstarter projects I am going to share with you today will actually be arriving if you back them, which is not something I can say about every Kickstarter that comes floating my way. Anyway, before I get into the news, I do want to mention, today I'm going to be taking a look at Trailhead, the wilderness survival game from Two Moles Games. And this is going to be coming to Kickstarter this summer. So we're going to be taking a look at that. And then I've actually got all of next week plotted out. So fingers crossed nothing weird happens next week. But got some cool stuff cooking. I do want to point out that I've got both the kitties floating around down here, so we may hear them chiming in from time to time. And we might even see Smokey decide she wants to pop up on my lap. And I should mention, I am certainly not superstitious, because Smokey, who is my cat, is a completely black cat, which I adopted her when I was at the shelter, and they said, yeah, a lot of people don't like to adopt black cats because they're bad luck. I thought, you know what, that is just stupid, and I can certainly say Smokey has not been bad luck for me. Anyway, all right, moving right along, let's jump into the news, because as I mentioned, got a pretty big news day ahead of us. I do want to also point out that chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen, but chat is there. So if you happen to be watching me live today, you can feel free to say hello. I will say howdy right back. Or when we take a look at Trailhead, if there's something you want me to take a closer look at or stop and maybe kind of explain something, feel free to ask. All right, so first off, my friends over at GreenBrier Games has launched a brand new Kickstarter for a science fiction 4X game, and I've got the dope. So there is project is very, very short too, I should point out. Anyway, Helios Expanse is a 4X space-themed board game for 3 to 5 explorers, playable in under an hour. It's the end of the world as we know it. Does that mean I should queue up Michael Stipe and REM to start playing? Maybe not. Colonizing System Sol was doomed from the start. The initial steps of leaving Earth-1 centuries ago were full of hope. The thrill of exploration and discovery was met with fierce competition between factions. The former sentiment-propelled humans further into the universe, while the latter manifested in wasted resources, war, and destruction. Over 300 years after the first moonwalk, the human race had made it to the edges of the system, and in doing so had used all the resources needed to sustain life for the next 100. It was the twilight of everything, save one fissure of possibility. Helios Expanse places you in control of an extrasolar faction of humanity competing for galactic supremacy against its rivals. Explore the board using movement, expand your empire by colonizing planets, exploit your advantages by moving up the technology track, and exterminate your competitors by moving up the military track. As mentioned previously, Helios Expanse is for 3 to 5 players and is an hour of fast-paced gameplay. This Kickstarter is unique for GreenBrier Games in a number of ways. First off, it's only going to run for a short period of time, 8 days, and the game is finalized. So if you're interested in getting it early, backers and retailers too, this is how you can do it. Also, the game is a departure from the narrative-driven games that GreenBrier normally does and will continue to do. However, the tight mechanics and Euro-themed style of play for this game are gorgeously simple to learn, but strategically fun to work through as the game progresses. Also, for the first time, this rulebook will be translated into German and French. We hope you love it as much as we do. Now, I want to point out that there was a video, or I should say there is a video, for Helios Expanse. I can't include it because if you follow the Daily Dope, you know that when I have a video that I'm going to share, I always upload it ahead of time onto YouTube to make sure there are no infringement problems. And unfortunately, the video for Helios Expanse gave me a blocked message, so can't share it, because if I did, this video would be blocked in the United States, and that would kind of suck. So, I do want to point out once again, Helios is for 3 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, and plays in about 45 to 60 minutes. The Kickstarter launched yesterday, and I have to be honest, I think it's flown under a lot of people's radars since it's really short and you already only have a week left to pledge your support. You can get on board and snag a copy of Helios Expanse for a $50 pledge through April 12th. Delivery is expected in March of 2019. Gotta admit, I'm a little surprised that the delivery is all the way into next year, since from my understanding, this is kind of a finished product. In fact, Julie Ahern from GreenBrier Games had reached out and asked if I wanted to take a peek at Helios Expanse, and I said, sure thing. Now, she may have forgotten, because I know she had 3 conventions that she hit over a period of 3 days last weekend, so it might have kind of slipped her mind, but she did ask if I wanted to take a look at it, so I kind of assumed that they at least had some prototypes available. So we shall find out. But as I mentioned, this is a very, very short Kickstarter. You only have 7 days left to support it. Moving right along, Asmodee has revealed a new expansion for Time Stories, and it will be sailing your way in the 3rd quarter of this year. And I've got the dope. Arg! Agents, glad to see you all made it back from Hollywood in one piece. Come in, take your seats. The agency has gathered ample information to provide you with an introductory brief of your next assignment. We've nicknamed your next mission Brotherhood of the Coast. Up until now, we know you've seen quite a bit. The horrors you faced in Estrella Drive were almost unspeakable, but you've proven yourselves capable of handling quite nearly anything, which is why we know you're up to this next assignment. Now let's get to the good part. You'll be traveling to the year 1685, crossing the high seas of the Caribbean during the golden age of piracy. I hope one of you knows how to sail. We've tried to keep this blunder under wraps, but the situation has gone beyond our control, which is the exact reason we're sending you agents. Some time ago, 4 seasoned agents, just like yourselves, were sent to this timeline. Unfortunately, something went awry, and we've lost trace of them. It's up to you to track them down and release them from their receptacles. more details on that at a later date. We've seen the way you handle yourselves in the field and believe you possess the exact skills we need to bring these agents home. If you take a look at the images, we've displayed some of the available receptacles you may take control of on this mission. Carapo is a gunslinging buccaneer who doesn't believe in vegetables. Doesn't believe in them as in they don't exist. He will prove very useful in disposing of enemies with his quick drawing and deadly accuracy with his pistols. Charlotte Gordon, a ruthless pirate captain, is a vessel which, with her presence alone, will turn the tide of any naval battle with ease. That's all the information we have for you at the current moment, agents. We'll be sure to update you with more details and information as your mission launch gets nearer. About all I know about Brotherhood of the Coast is it's for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and it will play somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 minutes to 4 hours. I'm not sure if that 4-hour playtime is correct, though. Outside of that, there's no MSRP yet because it's a Q3 release. Now, I have to be the first to point out, I have never played Time Stories. In fact, it has been a long time since I played anything from Asmodee. Last Asmodee game that I actually did a review of was long before they were purchased, or they started purchasing everybody else, I should say, before they became the monopoly they are. Although Quebec was pretty cool. In fact, I've got it up in the corner there. But maybe I'm wrong here, but for some reason, I think the expansions that come up for Time Stories, and I guess there's been quite a few, strike me as being kind of a one and done, that you sort of play the expansion, experience the story, and then there really isn't any replayability to it. I don't know. I'm not sure. But if you're a fan of Time Stories, you should be happy to know that there will be a new expansion coming in August. All right, moving along to my next Kickstarter item. Currently up for crowdfunding is a new card game from Cheap Ass Games, based on the Girl Genius webcomic by Phil and Kaja Foglio. And I've got the dope on Girl Genius The Works. Girl Genius The Works is a game for 2 or more players, ages 12 and up, and takes about 30 minutes to play. The game is most strategic with 2 players and can be slightly more chaotic with more. It's a game of planning ahead and setting up moves for yourself, so with several people, it's better to play in teams rather than a free-for-all. The first edition of this game was released in 2001, when Girl Genius was brand new. It's an update on an even older card game created by the same team. That game came with a single 110 card box. Most of the characters hadn't even appeared in the webcomic yet, and some of them still haven't. This new edition of the game will have 4 different 60-card decks, with all new cards representing a different arc of the Girl Genius story. The decks are Castle Wolfenbach, Castle Wolfenbach, Master Payne's Circus of Adventure, Castle Heterodyne, and the Siege of Mechanicsburg. If you like adventure, mad science, and innovative strategy games, then Girl Genius The Works is for you. If you aren't familiar with the webcomic, Girl Genius is a beautiful and hilarious comic series by Phil and Kaja Foglio, filled with intrigue, romance, and mad science. It's the story of Agatha Heterodyne, a gifted spark whose phenomenal powers lead to wild adventures. The comic has been going strong for 18 years and has won many, many awards. If memory serves me correctly, I think it's actually won some Hugo Awards, amazingly enough. So there is a Kickstarter video from Cheap Ass Games, so let's take a peek at Girl Genius The Works.
Here at C2E2.
And of course,
It's time to play The Works. The Works is a strategy puzzle game based on the award-winning webcomic series Girl Genius by Phil and Kaya Folio.
The Works has a unique interlocking mechanic with cards flipping and spinning and popping like cogs in a giant machine.
Hi, I'm Phil Folio, and I'm one of the creators of Girl Genius.
And I'm Kaya Folio, and I'm the other creator of Girl Genius.
Girl Genius is a comic of adventure, romance, and mad science.
Yes, it is.
The game has 4 different decks spanning the first 4 story arcs: Castle Wolfenbach, Circus of Adventure, Castle Heterodyne, and the Siege of Mechanicsburg.
Each deck has a different mix of characters and abilities, and you can even mix and match those cards to make your own unique deck.
We're asking for your help to print this new edition of Girl Genius The Works. Printing card games costs money, and we need to pay our contributors for their time and for their beautiful work.
We went to James, and he was able to put together a game that not only is it fun, but it's really easy to learn.
Check out the pledge levels below to see which one is right for you, and also look at the How to Play video for more details on how to play.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting Girl Genius The Works.
Oh yeah, of course, like all things, I guess there's my bad luck for Friday the 13th. I didn't have the video set up. Yeah, I was so busy making sure the cats were downstairs with me here in the Duct Tape Studios that I forgot to set up the 2 videos I've got for the 2 Kickstarters that I'm going to share videos for. Duh. Anyway, there's still 1 week left in the Kickstarter for Girl Genius The Works, and the project is nearly 400% funded. You can reserve a copy of a single deck, and you only need 1 deck to play, for $12. You can add the 3 other standalone decks for an additional $12 per deck. And if you pledge for all 4, thus $48, you'll even receive a special funvelope with extra goodies. You want to act fast, as this project does end April 20th. An estimated delivery from Cheap Ass Games is September of this year. I do want to point out I am pretty familiar with Phil Foglio as well as Kaja Foglio's work. Now, okay, so of course I have to show off how old I am and how long I've been in the hobby, following the hobby. I remember What's New with Phil and Dixie from the Dragon magazine, or I should say Dragon magazine. And I even recall when Magic the Gathering hit and the magazine, I want to say the magazine was The Duelist. I think it was The Duelist. Then, amazingly enough, What's New with Phil and Dixie, when it was in Dragon, of course, kind of poked fun at various different tabletop games, mainly Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, there was like a running gag about there was an upcoming series for what's new that was like sex in Dungeons and Dragons, and it was a running gag that they never got around to actually having that. Although I think there was like a reprint book that included all the comic strips from each monthly Dragon magazine, and I think they actually included that in there. Now, Phil and Kaja started Girl Genius back, I want to say it's like 2000, as a webcomic, and it's a lot of fun. It is loads and loads of fun. You should really check it out. So I would be pretty interested in a game based on that webcomic, because the webcomic is awesome. It really is. And it's no joke. It has won tons and tons of awards. So most definitely check out this Kickstarter. Once again, you only have a little bit of time to get on board. You got about a week. You've got 7 days. All right, my final Kickstarter news piece is from my friends over at Victory Point Games, because they've brought a second edition of Gem Rush to Kickstarter, and obviously, I've got the dope. Mine for gems and untold wealth in Gem Rush 2nd Edition. It's a perfectly cut, highly polished new version of this treasured title. Designed by Jeremy Leonard of Darkest Night fame, each player is an industrious dwarf working in a magical gem mine on a quest for dwarven glory, racing to build the mine, discover its secrets, and strategize using its evolving layout. Vastly improved component quality over the 1st edition, with bright new graphics, facelift for the rooms, gems, character skills, and even the rulebook are featured in this new edition. You can play alongside your friends in cooperative mode, or see who is the best dwarf in competitive mode. New magical gems include Echo Glass, Orichalcum, and Warpstone, each with properties that impact a player's strategy. There are also player skill cards, so each dwarf wields an individual special ability, which helps them to compete. The game also includes some dwarven poetry. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be like a selling point for the game. Something that is pretty cool though is, in addition, backers are also going to receive the digital version of Gem Rush 2nd Edition, which is being developed by Quicksilver Software Inc. And this will be at no additional charge through Steam. You want to take note though, the digital version of Gem Rush 2nd Edition is only going to be available on Steam at the start. Alright, so as mentioned, I've got a video for Gem Rush 2nd Edition, and I didn't queue it up. So give me a second here and I'll get this all ready for us.
Gem Rush 2 is a clever card game of position and hand management where players race to build a magical gem mine. Play solo or with up to 7 friends, exploring and expanding the mine in your quest for glory. Players set up Gem Rush 2 by determining which game mode to play, cooperatively in Crisis mode or competitively in Rush mode. Each player draws a skill card with a useful special power to exploit in the mine, selects their avatar, and is dealt 4 starting gem cards. The room cards are shuffled with the top one revealed as the starting position, and each player begins there. Let the rush begin. When it's your turn, you can move up 3 spaces along connected rooms. Along the way, you want to build out the mine by playing the gem card cost from your hand to create new rooms and score victory gems. To construct a new room, you must discard the gems shown from among those in your hand. After examining the new room, place it with an opening back to the room you just left. The more devious and demanding the room is to construct, the more you score for doing so. A job well done. New in the 2nd edition of Gem Rush are special gems with magical abilities that offer new strategies. In addition to the game's classic diamonds, the Wild Gem, you will also find bonus scoring Oracle Cup, duplicating Echo Glass and teleporting Warpstone. Also new are the minecart rooms, which help you zoom across the sprawling mine. After completing up to 3 moves and building new rooms in the process, you end your turn by performing 1 action. The default action is to draw 1 card from the gem deck, but each room has its own special ability, many of which are alternate actions which help increase or optimize your draw. Your plan for winning should include a look at the rooms around you and how to best position your dwarf and prepare your hand for your next turn. Strategy runs as deep as the magical mine itself. You win Gem Rush 2 by scoring victory gems. In Rush mode, the first player to score 20 points triggers the last round and the player with the most points wins. In Crisis mode, play until time runs out to see how high a score you can achieve. Take your pick and dig a game you will treasure forever. Don't wait. Make up your mind today.
That wasn't so bad. You only had to wait a couple of seconds for me to queue the video up. So, I do want to point out that once again, GemRush 2nd Edition is for 1 to 6 players ages 14 and up and plays in around 45 minutes. The funding has already been reached for this project. It launched yesterday, if memory serves me correctly. So you can reserve a copy of the game, both physical and digital editions, as well as any stretch goals, for a $30 pledge through May 10th. Estimated delivery, at least I believe as far as the physical game, is going to be October of this year. I know some folks out there are probably wondering, those who have followed the gaming gang for a long time, probably wondering, well, Jeff, how come you're not showing off something for GemRush? Because normally, new games coming out from Victory Point Games, a lot of times I will have previews of them. I gotta be very honest, and this is absolutely no knock against the game, but GemRush never struck me as kind of being the sort of game that I get into. It seems it seems pretty Euro-y in some ways, and like I said, absolutely nothing against the game or Jeremy Leonard's design. It just didn't seem like a game that I'd be like really pumped about. So that's why I didn't reach out to Victory Point Games and say, hey, why don't I do a preview for you guys? Because that's just how I operate. You know, I don't sit there and be like, yes, give me every game because I want every game, and it doesn't matter if I'm going to ever play it or if I think I'll like it, just send me stuff. That is not how I operate. Anyway, so there you have 3 Kickstarters today. I know, really weird. But moving along, I should say, to non-Kickstarter news. Modiphius Entertainment earlier today released the beta skirmish miniature rules for Star Trek Adventures. Yay! And I've got the dope on Red Alert. With Star Trek Adventures Red Alert, your gaming group can add an exciting 3-dimensional tactical experience to your RPG encounters. Now, Federation away teams can do battle against Klingon warriors, Romulan strike teams, Borg drones, or any number of other threats on far-flung worlds across the galaxy. Whether you're a seasoned veteran of tabletop campaigns or a fresh-from-the-academy redshirt, you'll soon be controlling your own away team and battling over the fate of worlds or the entire galaxy. This is a free PDF chapter of the Operations Division Supplementary Rulebook for the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game and contains rules for miniatures combat. You will need the Star Trek Adventures core rulebook, Star Trek Adventures miniatures, obviously enough, Star Trek Adventures tile sets. Oh, I don't know if you really need tile sets. At least 2 20-sided dice per player and several 6-sided dice to serve as challenge dice. You also need 2 sets of 6 tokens for momentum and threat. Star Trek Adventures Red Alert is available absolutely free from Drive-Thru RPG. I think it's pretty cool that Modiphius Entertainment is rolling out some miniatures rules for Star Trek Adventures, because I know they've got a few different waves of miniatures that have already come out. So we've got Classic Trek, we've got Star Trek Next Generation. I know I've seen Romulans, I know I've seen Klingons. I don't know if I've seen the Borg, but I guess they're out. So I thought that was kind of cool. Now, I do have to be very honest. If you're just looking at doing some Star Trek like skirmish level miniatures battles, I don't know if it's worth getting all the stuff that you need to be able to play, because you would need the core book for Star Trek Adventures. That said, it is an awesome role-playing game. It is excellent. So there you have it. So I'm going to take a peek at this free download. All right, so I do want to share my last news piece, and it's another kind of pirate-related item. So I guess we got a little bit of a pirate theme on today's show. And we're going to once again hit the high seas because Fabled Environments has released a big source book for Savage Worlds, which will take you to the Spanish Main and the golden age of piracy. Here's the dope. Things differ from what you might remember in your history books. Sure, the seas overflow with iron men and wooden ships, but the Caribbean permeates a lurking darkness. I always say Caribbean. I know some people say Caribbean. The golden age of piracy suffers a tarnish from a taint of a malevolent force lurking in the waters. What started out as a silent plea for help turned into a deep cry for mercy. Buccaneer Through Hell and High Water is a 300-plus page setting for the Savage World system. It brings the golden age of piracy to life. Contained within, you can find some new rules for ship combat, swashbuckling chaos, ship customization, new archetypes, over 20 new edges and hindrances, and an exciting world of buccaneers, voodoo, and monsters to run your campaign. You can score a copy of the 308-page Buccaneer PDF right now at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. I have seen some prior Fabled Environments releases, and they're pretty cool. They've never been this big, as far as I understand. This is 300-plus pages, and rumor is this is pretty good. This is pretty good for folks who like Savage Worlds, using that system. And I hear that the ship combat portion of this is really, really well done. All right, so there you have it. That is the news for today. And we're going to take a look at Trailhead in just a few minutes. Did want to talk about a couple of things. First off, yesterday's show, I did a really in-depth look at the core rulebook for Torg Eternity from Ulysses North America. In fact, gosh, I want to say I spent probably 40 minutes going through the book and talking a little bit about what I knew about Torg, the game that originally came out from West End Games back in, I want to say like 1990, and what I knew about this new edition that's come out. And I was having a lot of fun. I am having a really good time reading through this core book. Strangely enough, though, the video on YouTube cuts off with about 12 minutes to go in the video, and I have absolutely no idea why. Because when I'm logged into my YouTube account and I go into the edit, I can see the entire video. I can see all 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 34 seconds. I can see it in the edit. When I go to, there's a thing you can edit audio. When I go into that, once again, it shows the full hour, 14 minutes, and 34 seconds. Yet, the final video is an hour, 2 minutes, and 30 seconds on the nose. Boom, and it ends. And I can't figure out why. And I have seen in the past videos like live streams, just like when you upload a video to YouTube, sometimes the live streams kind of get stuck in a processing mode and you can't get them unstuck. Now, I normally do not record the Daily Dope simply because I had noticed before when I record a video, the live stream, the audio kind of goes in and out of sync, which would drive me nuts watching it. So in the end, I have to pull that file down, upload a new file, and anybody who was watching the live stream and commenting, or if they were chiming in chat, it all gets lost, which is sort of pain in the ass. But starting today, I am recording the show because to lose that 12 minutes is really, really bizarre, and I honestly don't know if there's any way to recover it. I have reached out to YouTube, but there really is absolutely no technical support whatsoever with YouTube. You can never get a hold of anybody. especially since I'm not a monetized channel anymore. I will be soon enough. I think I'm only 65 subscribers away to get back to that, to get to the 1,000 that I need. The view time's fine. I've got that beaten by a few hundred hours. But I did want to mention that I had nothing to do with that video yesterday being screwed up. There's nothing I can do to fix it. Hopefully, I've tried a few different things. It may take a few hours. I don't know if it's going to turn out okay or not. So, there you have that. Anyway, I had mentioned earlier in the show that I've actually got next week all plotted out. And I know folks like to know, well, what's coming up on the Daily Dope. So on Monday, I will be reviewing Shards of Infinity, the new deck building game from Ultra Pro Entertainment and Stoneblade Entertainment. So that is on Monday's show. On Tuesday's show, I will be reviewing Grimslingers, the Northern Territory from GreenBrier Games. This is a pretty bulky box. A lot of stuff inside here, and it is the first expansion for the kind of magic dueling card game from GreenBrier Games. Grimslingers is very cool. Very unique sort of game. Then on Wednesday, it's Wargame Wednesday, I will be reviewing, yes, 3 reviews in a row, At Any Cost, Mets 1870 from GMT Games, designed by my very, very good friend, Herman Luttman. So the Wargamers out there I know are going to want to tune in for that. On Thursday, since I like to cover role-playing games, and if you saw yesterday's video before it cuts out, you already know that Ulysses North America sent me just a ton of stuff for the Dark Eye as well as Torg Eternity. And I have been getting some questions from folks asking, when am I going to look at the Dark Eye? Because a lot of folks are very familiar with Torg and Torg Eternity. They're not familiar with the Dark Eye. So on Thursday, we are going to take a detailed look at the core rulebook for the Dark Eye. This is sort of kind of like a digest edition. So I assume that this is the same exact book as the big hardcover. So we're going to take a look at that. On a side note, I should mention, I just heard that Ulysses North America and Paizo are kind of going their separate ways, which makes sense. So it was Ulysses Spiel had to deal with Paizo as far as Paizo releasing the English language versions of Ulysses Spiel games, because Ulysses Spiel is actually the largest producer of role-playing games books in the world, because they happen to publish, say, like Pathfinder in German, in other languages. So now that there's Ulysses North America, Ulysses Spiel really doesn't need to have that relationship any longer with Paizo. And it's, as far as I understand, I mean, there's no animosity or anything like that. It just happens to be that, you know, they're going their own ways. They're still going to work together on other things too, though. Then on Friday, I am going to take a peek at the Aventuria adventure card game, which is based on the Dark Eye, and it looks pretty cool. And I have heard some pretty good things about this adventure card game from people who play the Dark Eye. So we're going to have a couple of Dark Eye items on next week's show. Okay, so I know some folks are tuning in because they want to take a look at Trailhead, the wilderness survival game from Two Moles Games. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch over to the other camera, and I should point out that Trailhead is available from trailheadgame.com, I think. Okay, so I should point out there's a reason why I think you can still get it, because it is going to be coming to Kickstarter this summer, and I think it's kind of going to be more of like a kind of like a deluxe edition of it. The game is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, and plays in around 30 to 45 minutes. And I don't have an exact date for a Kickstarter just yet, but of course, when I know, you shall know as well. Forgot I had that little slide there. So the game itself comes in a tin, and it's got this little wrap around it. So as I mentioned, it's for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up, plays in about a half hour. So from my understanding, this is a game where you're supposed to be kind of exploring the Superstition Mountains, which are located right outside Phoenix, Arizona. I am familiar with these Superstition Mountains. The treasure, the Lost Dutchman's mine, is supposed to be hidden in the Superstition Mountains, and a lot of folks have gone looking for it, looking for the mine, and have not returned. Unfortunately, it is, it's the desert, folks. So I find it kind of interesting, because here it says it takes 30 minutes, and then here it says it takes 30 to 45 minutes. I do understand there's a bit of a kind of like Forbidden Island vibe to the game. I almost said Forbidden Planet. It's like, no, there's no Forbidden Planet vibe, Jeff. There's no Robbie the Robot. The Walt Disney Studio did not do the special effects for the game. All right, so it says, it's a race to the trailhead. Lost in the wilderness and running low on water, your goal is to be the first player to reach the trailhead. Collect trail markers to move forward, but watch out! You lose water at the end of every turn. A dice rolling game with a strategic twist. Trailhead is easy to learn and perfect for both the kitchen table or the campsite. Cool. All right, so let's slide this off. All right, come on, you. Come on, you. Get off. Get off of there. Oh, cool. So we actually even have a little Trailhead sticker on top of the tin. Let's take a look. How to play. Okay. So we've got the objective. And we actually just read the pretty much the objective on the back. Although it says, as you venture through the wilderness, you can buy survival cards that give you a boost, hinder other players, or alter the trail itself. Happy trails! You win when you reach the trailhead first, or you're the last person left alive. Yikes. You lose when you run out of water or another player reaches the trailhead. Let's hope this is a lot better than Outdoor Survival. I know a lot of people out there aren't familiar with Outdoor Survival. It's an old Avalon Hill game that some people still swear is the worst board game ever made. I honestly don't recall ever playing it, though. I remember my best friend Elliot Miller, I want to say his brother Lucky owned it, but I don't recall ever actually playing it. All right, needed to wet the whistle a little bit. So we've got map tiles. Looks like we've got 13 map tiles and a trailhead tile. We've got dice. We've got survival cards. 18 green cards and 9 gold cards. Water. We've got a bunch of wooden water drops. Counter cards. So 5 counter cards and 10 slider clips. Setup. Talking about the setup here. Oh, it almost looks like we've got a bit of almost kind of oh my gosh, what is it? We play it all the time. The Lost Expedition. Seems like it might have a little bit of a Lost Expedition vibe because it looks like you're laying out these tiles. Okay. We're talking about getting set up. Talking about rules of the game, sequence of a turn. You're going to roll your dice. So we've got water, compass, trail marker. Looks like what's on the dice. And looks like we got a little push your luck element because it says you can roll up to 3 times. Because after each roll, you can keep the dice you like and re-roll the dice you want to change. Taking actions. So there are 3 kinds of actions. Moving between map tiles. Buying survival cards. And using survival cards. It says paying water. Pay the number of water drops shown on the map tile where you end your turn. And It's talking about taking a turn. Gives us an example of play. Little rules cheat sheets. And actions quick reference. And Born in the Wild. See here, it says, Trailhead is inspired by the Superstition Mountains near Phoenix, Arizona, and is dedicated to the great outdoors. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Seems like an interesting little game. And of course, today is Friday. I like to do family games on Fridays. So I thought this would be a nice fit for Family Fun Friday. So we've got 60, I believe, of these little water drops. Take a look here. So we got the little droplets. Kind of cool. Then we've got the dice. And the little clips. I have to admit, I am never a big fan of games that require you to use clips to track certain things, simply because those clips almost always damage the cards that you use to track things. And then we've got 3 dice, and so I believe that's a trail marker. That is a compass, and that is water. So you're going to be rolling those. Okay, so we've got, these are the Trailhead tiles. Looks like we got the survival cards, and then we've got, each of the players will have the little tracking card here. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at these trail tiles. And it appears that you're going to use all of these trail tiles, I think. So we got 1, 2, 3. Oh, look, see, hey, Trailhead. Order online at trailheadgame.com. I know that this edition here that was being sold online, $1 was being donated to the National Forest Foundation. Right there, for every copy sold. Like I said, I'm not sure if you can still get this game because it is going to be coming to Kickstarter. Got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And how many trail tiles do we use to set up? Oh, so 6 to 8 map tiles. So, oh, that's cool. Okay, so you're not going to use every one of the tiles. So there's going to be some variety in the various tiles. And I do believe, taking a look here, I believe if you end up on that tile, that's how much water you end up spending at the end of your turn. Windy Pass. There's the trailhead, so that's your goal. That's what you're trying to get to. LaBarge Canyon. Blacktop Mesa. It's hard. You're gonna spend 3 water if you're there, man. A wild card. Huh. I guess maybe you have to roll dice. Ah, see, there we go. There's the Lost Dutchman's Mine, as I was talking about before. There should be like some special... If you find that, you should get some sort of special victory points or something. Tortilla Pass, Herman's Cave, Battleship Mountain, Weaver's Needle, Revis Ranch, and Flatiron. Very cool. All right. Just cardstock. So in the Kickstarter, I would take a guess that we're actually going to see, more like cardboard sort of tiles. So we've got that. There's the trailhead. Put these over off to the side here. And then we got the survival cards. We have green and gold. So I'm guessing maybe you'll end up putting these in 2 different stacks, right? So we've got the 2 different decks. One says single use and the other says every turn. So obviously these gold survival cards are going to be more valuable than these single use. I'm taking a guess. Oh, I see how you can buy them. All right, so we're going to see, I think, don't know, but it's possible that you spend 2 compass rolls to buy it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if these are going to be in a deck face down, or you might actually take a few cards and lay them face up in order to purchase them. So it says Midnight Theft. Take a compass, trail marker, or water drop from any player. Water filter, supply kit, Scenic Vista, energy bar, bear spray. So I see we've got aggro, we've got power up, trail change, fork in the trail. And I see some of the text down here. Like one said, "I'll play this to block an aggro card against you." Because not only are you trying to get to the trailhead first, you're also trying to stop the other players. You're trying to throw a wrench in their plans. Even though it says it's for 10 and up, the whole point is, I think if you run out of water, you die. So you may not necessarily present that to your 10-year-old children if you're playing this game. You might just say that, they get worn out and they can't continue. So then we've got raw deal, self-defense, immunity from aggro cards. Fleet-footed, movement between map tiles costs only 2 trail markers. Binoculars, Eagle Scout. I'm not sure how you track, what trail tile you're on, though. Unless it's here. Let's take a look. So these are the cards that you're actually going to use the clips to track. So I think that's trail markers, and these must be compasses. All right, so, and of course you're going to put that to mark your compasses, which I'm assuming you're going to gain compasses and trail markers from rolling your dice. And I believe it appears that normally you need to have 3 trail markers to advance. So right here, 3 trail markers, option to move 1 space. If you have 6, it says must move 1 or 2 spaces. And then we've got these compasses here, which I think, like I said, I'm pretty sure you're using these compasses to buy these survival cards. All right, so then there are 5 of these. Cool, kind of cool. Looking forward to kind of busting this out, because it looks like this could be some fun. It looks like it's probably very easy to get into, very easy to learn. My nephew Cameron is a big fan of push your luck dice games. Just something about it. He really, really likes the push your luck factor. I don't know what it is, but he does dig it. So there we go. We've got the 5 player markers. We've got the 2 decks of survival cards. We've got the trailhead and trail cards, or tiles, I should say. Goes there. We've got the 3 dice. We've got the clips. Get all that back in there. Got the water tokens, and then the little rule book, which all in all is what? Is it maybe 12 pages? And they're, pretty small pages, lots of images. So it doesn't look like this is very difficult to get a grasp of. All right. And plenty extra baggies. I don't necessarily think I need to put all that stuff in the bags at the moment. And that is what we find when we pretty much take everything from Trailhead outside the box. As I previously mentioned, game is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. Takes, One part of this says 30 minutes, the other part says 30 to 45 minutes. And of course, that's going to be depending on the number of players too. And it is coming to Kickstarter this summer. So I, of course, am going to provide a review of Trailhead probably within the next couple of weeks, obviously enough. It's not a super big, meaty game, so it should be pretty easy to get a review of that out there. And of course, when it does come to Kickstarter from Two Moles Games, I will be one of the first to bring you that news. All right, so there you have it. That is our Friday show. Well, the only bad luck we had was the videos, so thankfully enough, not too crazy. But as I mentioned on Monday's show, I will be reviewing Shards of Infinity from Ultra Pro Entertainment and Stoneblade Entertainment. So be sure to join me on Monday for that. And when you're not watching The Daily Dope, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you're not visiting thegaminggang.com, you're missing about 90% of the stuff that we do. Anyway, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. As I said, I will be back on Monday. So until then, have a great weekend. Have a very safe weekend. And as always, thank you very much for watching.